CloseCallSports.com with the latest Ask the Youthful bases loaded 2-2 count, 2 out.
How about that? Was that a swing? Play at the plate. He's out.
Contrary to the Royals broadcasters on this 2-2 count, there is no appeal on the half swing because the plate umpire rules the batter out for interference. There are a lot of questions to be asked, so we'll start where we always do, the rule book.
Not allowing Salvi to make a play at the plate. That's the call. Now he tagged him, but that looks like an out. I don't know if he said swing. It looked like he was pointing to Reynolds being in the area.
The relevant rule is 603A3. A batter is out for illegal action when they interfere with the catcher's fielding or throwing by stepping out of the batter's box or making any other movement that hinders the catcher's play at home base. If the batter interferes with the catcher, the plate umpire shall call interference, the batter is out, and the ball is dead. No player may advance on such interference, and all runners must return.
No run.
Wow. That.
Well, now let's see Donnie Kelly get run.
Let's pay attention to the batter, and only the batter right now. Batter steps out of the box and makes another movement as the catcher approaches. Well, what does that actually mean? We have to go back to the rules for that. 603A3 interferes with the catcher's fielding or throwing by stepping out of the batter's box. The batter did step out of the box, and the batter did make another movement that in this situation the umpire interpreted as hindering the catcher's play at home base. So the batter only needs to commit one of those two infractions for 603A3 illegal action to apply. And in this case, the batter commits both of them.
It looks like maybe he went. Batter runner clearly hinders the catcher in his attempt to field the ball.
This doesn't sound like the rule.
And batter runner is out, ball is dead. And that is what I'm assuming was the call there. We are not in Kansas City.
So the Pittsburgh broadcast is referencing 601A1. After a third strike that is not caught by the catcher, the batter runner clearly hinders the catcher in his attempt to field the ball. The problem is that, again, as I said, there was no appeal on the half swing. So this is not technically a third strike not caught. This is the incorrect rule citation. I appreciate very much the broadcasters citing a rule, but unfortunately they cited the wrong rule. Let's go back to the rule that it actually is.
Strike three, but he blocked the ball in the dirt, so he's picking it up to tag Reynolds. The umpire calls interference on Reynolds for being in the way of Perez trying to make a play at the plate. He wasn't trying to make a play at the plate. That's the way I saw it. Bellino, he's saying that Reynolds is in the way and he couldn't make a play. He's calling it on Reynolds. Is he pointing at Reynolds?
Well, I mean, with 2 outs, it's certainly not Newman who's going to be called out for the batter's interference. But it's a very valid point that the catcher tagged the batter, and you'd think, therefore, he had no play on the runner. But try to imagine where you are from the catcher's perspective. So as we try to parse that language, because it really does make sense that you say, yeah, the catcher never made a play at home base anyway, so why would this rule even apply? You have to think to yourself, did the batter step out of the box? And it's undoubtedly that the batter did step out of the box. And then the other part is making any other movement that hinders the catcher's play at home base. And remember, that's an or clause, not an and clause.
Tell us where the talking llama is, and we'll burn your house to the ground.
Don't you mean or?
Tell us where the talking llama is, or we'll burn your house to the ground.
Well, which is it? That seems like a pretty crucial conjunction.
Per the textbook of the rule, the language of the rule, stepping out of the box, because the batter clearly did step out of the box, you can have this call. But as we re-rack the tape yet again, what I want you to focus on is where the batter's positioning is relative to where the catcher's positioning is. Because you can clearly say that, yeah, the catcher made a play on the batter, not the runner, but watch the catcher as the catcher fields the ball. As Perez goes after this ball, picks it up, look at his head, he's kind of looking at the runner and then settles on the batter while still looking past the batter at the runner. So it's not like Perez didn't know that the runner existed, because Perez was clearly looking at the runner. In my opinion, it looks like Perez is trying to get around the batter. Does he choose a great path to do that? Probably not, but it's not on him. It's on the batter to get out of the way if the batter has left the batter's box. If the batter stays in the batter's box, we don't have the similar discussion. I'm going to pause the video right here as the batter is standing where the batter is standing, not exactly in the way of the catcher, but pretty close. And then we'll make another movement once I start up the video after this. Remember, it's an or clause. Batter's clearly out of the box. If the batter wants to be legal, the batter should go here, up the first baseline. But the batter does not do that. That's interference because you are depriving the catcher of the freedom of choice to make a play on the runner. For more about the freedom of choice principle, here's another rule where it applies.
Catcher's actions disrupt and deprive the batter of this free choice. This is catcher's interference, although a very rarely seen type of catcher's interference, to be sure. Nonetheless, this is interference. The catcher has hindered or prevented the batter from hitting the pitch.
So if you didn't get that, that's just a case of a standard pitch where the catcher jumps out in front of home plate to preempt to try to catch a runner stealing. That is catcher's interference. And by a similar token, this is batter's interference. The reason that it was catcher's interference, if you didn't get it, was that the catcher deprived the batter of the freedom of choice to choose whether to swing or not swing at the pitch. Because if you look at the replay on the picture-in-picture here, it sure looks like the batter has no intention of swinging at that pitch. But that's only because the catcher jumped out in front of home plate and deprived the batter of the opportunity to choose whether to swing or not. By a similar token, here, the batter, by exiting the box and or making any other movement at home plate, hindering the catcher's play at home base, has deprived the catcher of the opportunity to choose to go after the runner Newman or not. For that reason, it is batter illegal action interference, and that is why Dan Bellino calls the out that he does. One final perspective to look at as we watch Bellino signaling that, yeah, you, Reynolds, you were in the box and then you stepped out of the box, is the pitcher's perspective. It's going to be a close play at home plate if the catcher makes the play at home plate. Again, catcher was deprived of the free choice, and you could say Reynolds was in the throwing lane, and that made it more difficult for the catcher. That's what impeding means, and that's the definition of interference. It would have been a close play. We can't say for sure what would have happened, but because the batter was in the way illegally by rule, this is an illegal act, interference, the batter is out. One final point, that's with 2 outs. With 2 outs, the batter is out. But with less than 2 out, the runner attempting to score, Newman in this case, would be considered out. But with 2 out, Reynolds is out, and the next batter in the lineup will lead off the next inning. Thanks for sending this question in. Visit us online at closecallsports.com, Twitter and Facebook at closecallsports. We'll see you on the site.